Good afternoon, guys. I'm Guru Prasad, and today's topic is RDS, AWS RDS. So, RDS stands for Rational Database Services. Basically, RDS is nothing but it's a database service which provides six engines. So, why we need to choose RDS, AWS RDS? Why can't we go on premises? We have to migrate? Okay, so lots of challenges with terms of on premises. For example, in on premises, if you want to configure a database, so what and all is required? Okay, so you need to install an OS. Once you install the OS, you need to regularly update the patches. Once patch is done, you have to install the database. Then once you install the database, you need to create a file folder structure, and you have to create a database, and you have to create security logins, you have to create maintenance plans, jobs, create scripts to take backups, incremental differential or transfer full backup. It should be high availability. Clustering should be always on. Replications, database upgrades, OS upgrade, space issues, service packs, licensing, indexing, performance tuning, restoration, network issues. You have to monitor, you have to take the backup retention, you have to configure the backup retention and notifications. It's all lots of services and manpower is required, and definitely the DBA admin will be having a critical role to play on the on-premises. So if you choose RDS, basically this will solve all your on-premises problem. So it is just configure and give the endpoint to the user. So let's go talk about the RDS and RDMS and six engines. The first engine was MS SQL, MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, MariaDB, and it has Aurora. So Aurora is basically AWS product, and if you see MS SQL, it is Microsoft product, and MySQL is OpenSQL, and Oracle is definitely Oracle. The PostgreSQL is open source, and MariaDB is a community. So this is what all about the six engines, and let's talk about RDS more because RDS is very important in terms of if with respect to the RDS. So RDS has very important parameters. One is on the read replicas, another one is multi AZ. So basically, the read replicas is nothing but, for example, read replica. See, for example, if a database is installed, it has a master server. It's a master instance. I call it as its instance because we are into AWS. So when the developer or any users try to access the master server, it always reads and writes queries, and the database, the performance will become very slow. So in order to overcome on that, first thing is we have to use the read replica. So read replica concept is simple. Read replica is uh, it's like you can read the data, not write the data. So RDS provides five replicas. Okay, and basically read replicas can be on across the region and across the availability zone. So AZ, and with respect to the RDS, RDS has RDS uses DB instances, not the EC2 instance. It has its own DB instances, and it uses subnets, it uses secondary groups, and it has once you create the database, it has its own endpoint. And coming to the read replica when you configured, it will have its own endpoint. So endpoint is nothing but the host name. uh, it has the details of the credentials, and the read replica also has their own endpoint. That's what I said. And RDS is regional, and you can also see why I said RDS is regional. When you open RDS, you can see here. So it is not a global; it is a regional. So I configured in the Mumbai. So basically, it is regional. So, and when you configured the replica means read replica, you can only read from the replica. You cannot write anything on the read replica. You don't have control on the server. You cannot do RDP nor SSH on the DB instances. You can only connect to the DB using endpoints. And read replicas, definitely it helps with respect to the performance tuning, and it has maximum 5 replicas. And replicas can be in a different AZ, availability zone, and cross regions, but RDS is a regional. Okay, read replicas can be in the cross region and a different availability zone. So read replicas can only use for read, not to write. And anytime replicas can be promoted to the standalone database. For example, you have configured the master server and a master instance, master database, and when you create the read replica, so anytime you can make a read replica promoted to the standalone. So what it does means it will become the what do you say, read replica can be promoted to the standalone databases. Okay, so so advantage over RDS if you compare to DB on EC2 is always a RDS is AWS managed services, and OS patching level by AWS, continuous backup and restore to specific timestamp. So point in time restore, monitor dashboard, so you can see automated backups, and maintenance is there for any updates. And see, basically, if a read replica is not a high availability. Read replica is just help you to perform the replicas, to read the replicas. So performance will be there, but it is not high availability. If the database goes down, so the DB will be down. So with respect to multi-AZ, see, there's a concept called multi-AZ. So that is set up for either for the disaster recovery or for the high availability. So definitely high availability is nothing but a disaster. So see, for example, if one server goes down, the failover happens without knowingly. Like you'll not come to know when the failover happens from the standard master to the standalone. Okay, so scaling capability is vertical and horizontal, and definitely you can't take a remote to the RDS instances. Okay, so the replica of the master will be created only a multi AZ is enabled. See, basically, when you configure RDS, if you have not configured the multi AZ, then you will not find the standalone. Okay, and sync RDS multi AZ as disaster recovery. That's what I said, and it has sync replication to one DNS name automatic failover, and failover to standby, and increase availability. Failure in case of loss of AZ. I mean, see, for example, failure when it happens in case the availability zone goes down or loss of network, if any issues with the network. So basically, that where the failover take place. our instances, if any failure on the instance or the storage failure, and so in case if no manual intervention with between the applications, and this is why the multi-AZ is come in picture. So I'm going to say the standalone. In case of failure of the storage, the failure happens, and the standalone will take care. That is called high availability with respect to the RDS, and that's called multi-AZ. So, so the manual failure of the DB instance was initiated using reboot with failover. So that is like it takes by its own, and we don't need to worry about that. So basically, whenever the failure happens, the backups are created from the standby. So the backups will be there, and multi is only within the single region, not the cross region, and regions outage impact availability. So this is what on the multi-AZ and RDS backup. Definitely, backups are automatically enabled in the RDS. Whenever you create a database, it creates the automated. Means you can enable the automated by default. It's an automated. You can schedule the backup as well, and it creates automated backups, which is it takes the daily snapshot of the database, capture from the action logs in real time, and ability to restore any point in time. And see, the retention period for the backup is minimum is 0, maximum is 35 days. So as we know, we use 7 days as a retention period. So that's what we do. Okay, so DB snapshots. When you take the snapshots of the DB, definitely there won't be any retention period, and it is like manually configured by the user or by the administrator. So and retention of the backup as long as you want to. So it don't until you delete, the snapshot will reside in your database. So this is what the snapshots thing. Okay, and let's start um, uh, creation of the database. Okay, so I just opened Amazon RDS and just create database. Okay, so it has two database creations. So let's use the standard create so that we can just configure as we want. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Since Amazon RRO is a pay service, so MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, you can use it. The Oracle and SQL Server, it is chargeable. And anytime, see the version also. For example, you want to upgrade any versions to a new version, you can upgrade anytime on fly. So this is what the beauty of the ideas. Um, and let's see production. Say I'm going to show you in a production how exactly the production environment like. So, but I will show you how to configure in the free tier, but not on the production. But I'll show you how what and all is there in the production. So see production, see the database instance identifier. Okay, so you type the name of your DB instance. The name must be unique across all DBs owned by you in the current region. So you can see this is the data name of your DB instance. Okay, so instance name, what we can call is my RDS instance. So see, it's your wish. However, whatever you call it, it's your wish. So you can call it as any name which you prefer, or in your organization, if you feel like any name, you can prefer. Okay, so let's come into this. So once we give the name, and definitely see by default, whenever you install any of the MySQL or PostgreSQL, it takes the name by default. So with respect to the PostgreSQL, so you can see the name. Okay, so here you can't use heart symbol or any special characters. So you can create so just 8 characters, and this one is important. And this password you can view in the credential account settings. Okay, so here the DB instance classes. So whatever classes you can select. So based on that, based on the like you need a CPUs, 4 CPU, 16 GB, or you want higher like high performance. So select whatever you prefer. Like it's up to you. Whatever you can prefer. Okay. So with respect to the free tier, we're going to use the first of all class, which is T2 Micro. So here you can see you can select anything. Based on that, the price will be distributed. The price will be it shows the price. Okay, so here the allocated space for IOPS, this SSD will storage type, and it is an high performance. So you can just to select provision. It gives the performance better, and enable feature all allow storage to increase once the specified threshold is. For example, if the allocated space is 100 and the provision is 1000, so you can make it anything like maximum storage. So when it goes reaches the threshold, it will take from the automatically it does the auto scaling and it uses the storage whatever we enabled. And the charges will be the auto allocated storage only until unless it reaches the threshold and you started using the auto scaling. Till that, the bill only for your allocated storage. And I was talking about the multi-AZ. Yes, we know what is multi-AZ. Multi-AZ is used for the high availability. In case of the master goes down, the standalone will take automatically. So you can see here, create a standby instance recommended for production usage. Create the standard into different availability zone to provide data redundancy, eliminate IO freezes. This is what I said, IO freezes, and it eliminates everything in case of any failure. I'm just saying any storage failure, any in case of any hardware failure. Okay, so, but see, VPC definitely that is very important. You have to select the VPN, and VPC you have to select based on your whatever the requirement. The network admin gives the VPC IP. So based on that, you once you add the VPC, you cannot modify the VPC. That is keep in mind. So see, basically after a database is created, you cannot change the VPC selections. Okay, so make sure that whatever you give, it should be a proper. Okay, and password authentication. The database authentications happens in three. So one is on the password authentication, authenticates using database which we have created as a Postgres 1234. So Postgres has a name of the account, and you can use a password as in database. And the third one also you can use like in real time, you can use your directory services. Okay, so see basically you can access the subnet via public, but in case of an organization you no need to choose S for public. Select the what do you say, the private. And VPC security, as I said, make sure that you will select the right VPC, and make sure that you will not change the port number for SQL. For Postgres SQL is 5432. That is the port number which is allocated, and so once that is done, so go here and additional configuration with respect to the monitoring and database name. See initially the name of the database. So the name of the instance I've given that as my DB, my RDS instance. So the database name, the initial database name. So I can give as RDS instance. RDS database or RDS database. That will be fair enough. And default parameters, keep it as it is. And Enable automated backups. This you can just modify anytime. By default, it takes 7 days. You can keep, if customer wants to restore the data like 15 days, make it 15 days. It depends on the requirement from the customer. So just make sure that the customer gives and backup window. See, basically select a backup window and you can start. It's a specific time. If it is no preference, it copy text to the snapshot. So it takes automatically. Encryption definitely. Okay, so encryption, you can choose encryption. You can enable the encryption by it takes the key management services KMS. And performance insights, it is all you can enable it based on your requirement. Enable enhancement like enhanced monitoring. So it has a beautiful monitoring. So it by default it is 60 seconds. You can make it as it is. And you can enable the post logs. So when once you enable, you the logs will be created in the CloudWatch. So you can see the logs, who has done what is like it gives basically the instance logs. And maintenance enabling auto mirror version upgrade with automatic upgrade new miner as they related automatic update during the maintenance window for the database. This basically AWS does the maintenance, the what do you say, patches update also. So it depends on your requirement. See, once, and if you enable the database deletion protection, for example, someone who accidentally deletes the database, it will not delete unless you by disable the delete protection. This is one of the big security with respect to RDS. So you can't delete the account without disabling this enable. Okay, uh, so definitely the users they will have to have access to delete. So see, all together you can see thousand or $11,951. This is for the per month. So this is what, okay. So so this is what the production database. So let's go to free tire, and I'll see whether the free tire it is showing any. Okay. So free tire is similar, only we are not enabling the multi-AZ since the option what we have is like it is payable. So and see, we don't have anything when we are doing any normal test. So first thing is I've selected as a free tire and I've selected as a Postgres SQL. Out of six engines, you can select any three, and three is payable. Amazon Aurora, Oracle, MS SQL, Microsoft SQL Service, that is payable. MS SQL, MariaDB, and Postgres SQL is free of cost. So I'm going to create, and let's be there. So password, everything you have given, and the difference you can see from the production to the free tier is like the standard classes and memory is disabled, and it takes G to micro by default. Okay, so do not include the previous generation class which is no more. So if you include, you can just it will give M3 or different the old generation. So so here, enable these features will allow, so not required as of now for us, since we are using the only limited. And if you see multi-AZ, multi-AZ, definitely it is not for us because it is on the production. So by default, I'm selecting a default, and after the database created, you cannot change the VP selection. Let's keep everything default, and since I'm going to use public, so I just enable the public, and default subnet group, and everything I'm using default. And availability zone, I can prefer any availability zone. So 5432 is a data port number. Make sure that you will not enable. And password authentication, password. With Kerberos attention, this uses the directory, and it just uses your IM, and this uses our database. So yes, RDS database enable automatic backups. So that I will show you by default 7 days. Um, so copy tags. Okay, let it be. Um, so enable enhanced monitoring. Let's enable so that enable that. Let's see 60 seconds monitoring rule also. By default, we can give default one, and so this I'm not going to enable because we are not just using, we are just using, okay. So costing it's not giving, and let's create database. So all the settings definitely, and this definitely takes some time. Meantime, what you do is basically some of the developers they use, for example, they used to connect to the database SQL, Electron, or pgadmin, so that any one you can install. Okay, so I have already installed it. So basically my management tools for postgres SQL. Okay, so you can install it, and you can meantime before the database creates, so it is asking for password. Let's give any password. So yes, so meantime what we can do is we can allow the security so that we can connect directly. So go to EC2 instances, and you can see here the security groups, the network and security groups, and edit the inbound rules, and I've enabled already PostgreSQL. So make it my IP so that we are connecting to through the my IP. And just to delete this, save changes, it's done. And meantime go back to the RDS. Basically this takes some time to create the database. This takes some time, uh, and meantime you can see the logs. You can see by going to the CloudWatch, you can see whatever the logs it's created by default. See, it it what is the date? So, this one I created yesterday. See, basically, whatever you don't require, please delete it off so that it don't create any problem for you with respect to the logs, with respect to the billing. So AWS will charge you. So ensure that. Uh, so because see, basically, the first thing is whatever you enabled it. Uh, when you enable CloudWatch, Cloud Logs, it creates a PostgreSQL like logs. So delete it off so that you won't get charged. I know it's like sometimes it is human error. We forget to disable, and when we see the bill, we'll come to know what the charges is exactly. And it's okay. Like see, sometimes uh, basically you have to plan. Um, Basically, you have to plan accordingly. Whenever you enable it, ensure that you will disable it. That's it. So, so make a note. So now definitely I came to know that the logs which was deleted, not deleted. So we can delete it off. So So, so this is what all about the RDS, and let's see once it is created, so that it we can connect using the database endpoint. And RDS is very good, very good. So as an admin, you could create the DB instance, you can create the automated backups, everything you configure and give it to the developers. So only you can give the username, the database ID and password, and the IP address, so that they can just do the through connect through the PG admin or the uh, Selectron, SQL Selectron. That depends on them how they connect. So now see configuring the logs exports, and when you go back to the automated backups, so it is already it's created. So and once it creates it, we can see. So this is what the performance. Let it create, and and I'll show you how to connect and how to create the replica. And but I'm not a database admin. I know little queries, but definitely if you are a database admin, if you are a developer, definitely you know the scripting, so it will be helpful for you to create a table or whatever you can do it. So basically, this is where we choose AWS IDs instead of the on-premises. On-prem definitely it needs lot of downtime with respect to any maintenance window, anything with respect to any OS upgrade, any database upgrade. You need to have a downtime, but definitely in IDS you don't require any downtime. If you want to change the version, definitely it's just on fly you can do it, and it's not that much huge. See, basically, when you're not enabled the multi-AZ, what is the difference? How I'll come to know whether it is a multi-AZ high availability database or not? So the role it is shows instance as if you have not configured your multi-AZ. The moment you configure your multi-AZ, if you enable the multi-AZ, you can see the option will change from instance to master. That is the way we will come to know, okay, the I availability is enabled, the multi-AZ is enabled for RDS. So now there is no I availability. If it goes down, gone. So So you see, it creates the snapshots. Snapshot is nothing but your data backup. It's automated. So let's see. Once it is done, we can connect. However, we have enabled the security groups, which 5432, which is the protocol code number for Postgres SQL. Um, and we have two options to connect. One is PG admin, and PG admin and whatever. Let's see. Let's wait for some time. Once yeah, it has come. So, so this is what it shows. Whatever we did, and this is what the endpoint. So this you have to give it to your developer. So let's use new server name. You can see my RDS instance. Go here, give the and Username as we know, PostgreSQL, password, and save it. This is where it connected, and you can see the database is connected successfully. Okay, meantime I will show you how to connect to the SQL electron. And this is all freeware, so you can just install it. So my RDS instance data types we can select as PostgreSQL, and the server name you have to give, and the Postgres, that's the username. One, two, save it and connect it. This is what, so it is connected to my RDS which we have configured. You can see the monitoring. So it is connected, so it is showing CPU utilization, and we can create a test database. So create database as Adya Arpana. So execute, it's created. So you can create n number of database if you're good at, so you can create it. So I'm not sure, I don't know about the comments. So create tables. I'm not sure about the comments, so don't mind. And what you can do is, so this is what the service is. Just see what and all it does. If you go back to the CloudWatch, you can see the logs, and definitely that gives you clear picture what we have done. So see 153, and if you click, see this is what the logs which talks about. So load more. So whatever you do, changes, whatever you do, everything will be there here, and everything will be selected. Okay, hope you know this, and you can. So this is what the logs. So go back to RDS, and I'll show you how to log into the read replica, how to create a read replica. So once you go here, DB instances, you can see, and select this, create read replicas. So it is same thing. So general purpose, and it takes T2 micro, and so make it public, and no preference. Let it be anywhere. Like you can select any multi. Okay. So disable my read replicas. So As I said, it has my replica, read replica. So this will have its own endpoint. So we can either you can log in, you can just logs, so you can enable or disable. Not that's not a problem. Just create replica. As I said, the replica is just to read the. It's a read to improve the performance. So when you write, it will write directly to the instance. But when you read, replicas can be used, so the server will not go down or run unstable. The performance will be in good state. So new window. Let's see connecting the. You can see it's creating the data read replica. Go to dashboard. Dashboard shows everything. Database. You can take a snapshot, restore to point in time. You can restore anytime, but restore only when it is required. For example, DB admin will say, like a developer will say something, it is crashed or something like that. So it never crashes until there is a storage failure or something like that. So ensure that. So while read replica is going on, also we can just work on that. So um, create. So you can create a number of databases and on the well while creating the what do you say my replica, read replica. Anytime you can go and see the performance inside. What is the performance? The name of that. So this developers can configure or they can manage the metrics. So as a admin, just you need to configure and you need to take care of the backups and you need to take care of the replicas. You need to take care of the snapshots. You need to take care of all the things. So meantime, we can create, take a snapshot. You can take a snapshot. So I can call it as my snapshot. So snapshot basically you must provide a name of the snapshot. Okay, snapshot is nothing but whatever the data, whatever we did now, just now, it will take snapshot of entirely. So you can restore anytime. And if you see the snapshot is manual. So the backups, whatever it's happening is automated, but the creation of the snapshot is always manual. That's what I said. Whenever the DB you're deleting, make sure that you'll delete the snapshot. So read replicas, it takes some time to create. Let's see. Let's go wait for that. And when we open the read replica, you can change anytime region or you can change it and logs, monitor, everything you can do from here. So basically, read replica is nothing but you are reading the data, so the performance will be it will be very good. So Let's wait. And if you see recent events, it will show whatever you've done. So it shows completely when you started, what is the. So it gives a clear picture of what you have done so far. So it's really helpful when you create, when you manage. Okay, it's almost done because the status, whatever the my RDS it has taken, so it is just creating notes available now. Basically, this will take some time because this is just a replica of your RDC instances, right? So it usually takes time. So let's see. Let's wait for some time. And ensure that the VPC, when you're configuring the VPC, you have to give proper VPC IP. In case if you miss to provide the wrong one, and definitely you have to configure again because we don't have option to modify. So RDS become master now and replica. So let's see. But as I said earlier, the when you enable the replica, the main it will become how to differentiate. Usually, when we create the instance, it will be instance, and once we create the rate replica, this will become a master. The main one is become a master, and this will be replica. When you start availability, that time it will become a standalone. So it shows what is standalone and master. So anytime you can, any failure, it takes automatically. So now in compatible, like next is it creates a logs. Then we are ready for to use the read replica. And Aurora also we can create Aurora or read replica. So so Aurora is also very good. So Aurora has 15 replicas. Imagine it has 15 read replicas, and the performance will be high. Usually this will take a long time to create because it's a database. And with respect to the company, imagine like you can't do within half an hour or 1 hour. It takes lot of time. It requires lot of approvals. That this. So this just based on the requirement. Just do it. That's it. Meantime, we will see the CloudWatch and whatever whatever the events, logs, everything creates and it's ready for use. So so for logs, there is no retention, and that is the beauty. The logs will remain same. See, everything will be there. What and all you've done. So everything. showing my Airtel broadband from where I've configured, from where I logged in, and it shows completely everything it shows. It's the beauty of the locks feature. And this topic is definitely it takes time to create and show on live, so don't mind. Okay, my rate replica is done, created. This is what my rate replica. Let's see. So my rate replica. Just there. See, it's connected, and you can read the content whatever we created, right? So let's see. Read replica. You can read only. You can't write, right? So let's create database. Yeah. Example. You cannot exile. See, this is what the read replica. You can read the content, but you can't write it. Got it, right? So I'm going to close it, and the endpoint will be different. The password as it accepted the old password. So only the endpoint will be changes. So the password remains same. And once you go, you can make the replica. See, for example, I want to make this replica as promote. So let's see. Um, you can just enable automatic or whatever, or okay, continue promote, right? So I'm promoting this read replica as my, like I'm promoting, like changing the database to that, to the read replica, so it changes. I'm promoting. Let's see once that's done. So basically this is what the option, and let's see. So what it does means it waits for to cache with the master database and direct all database traffic to the newly promoted master, created additional replicas for the performance. So that's what we have done. So let's see. See now it is creating. So it is we have just interchanging us it. Now if once I promote, you can see the instance, the master become an instance. So but you need to have little patience. But it will not become down. Meantime, when you working, whatever changes, it will be happening on the back end. So it will not go down. See, it will not create any problem. We can connect with replica. We can connect. However, the changes is happening also. There is no down. It is working. So now if you see it is rebooting. But it is connected also. Okay. Let's see whether it is connecting or not. When it is rebooting the read replica. And read replica you can create five. That's what I showed you. Yeah, it's connecting properly. I think it's working fine without any interruption. Mm. Come on, what is happening? It's backing up. So if you see automatic backup, so earlier restoration, latest restoration, so you can restore anytime. No, so this is like created available and ensure that all you will delete, otherwise it creates billing for you. And action you can restore anytime. You can migrate snapshot and you can do whatever you want. Just waiting once it's done how exactly we can. So and once it is promoted, I just want to see whether we can de-promote again and we can make that as a master back. Yeah, it is done now. So So I think once you promote, you can't de-promote. That's what it is showing. Okay, this is what the lab. So hope you enjoyed and see everything, like you can take a screen, you can stop, reboot, delete, create a replica, take a snapshot that we have done, restore in any time. So this is what, and every performance we saw you can see read replica performance. You can see whatever at any instance. So and it has and a reserved instance. You can reserve the purchase DBs. So automatic backup, proxies. You can create a proxies in case if you're using the VPC and your environment. So as of now, I'm not selecting events. You can subscribe and yeah, you can see you even subscription. You can create event subscription. So you can use the ARN and when the name of the ARN and one DB event. So you can create topic, new topic, email topic, tab topic name. So and whatever your team email address, and once you create whatever the events, it comes to your whoever available, whoever logged in, whoever does anything changes, it will come to your email. That's the beauty. Okay, friends. So I'm going to delete every whatever the created one. I'll show you how to delete it so that you won't miss it. So let's see. And once it is promoted, you can't depromote. So delete. So create final. Don't do it and delete me. I acknowledge that upon instant deletion, automated backups, including system snapshot and point, will no longer be available. Delete. Delete. Don't create the final snapshot. So delete me. And the snapshots. And here you can share with someone, share public, whatever the snapshot. You can share it to your friends, anyone. So let's delete everything, whatever not required. Okay, let's wait once because it is deleting the database. So once it deletes, and meantime we can delete all the logs file which is created so that we won't forget. Simple, delete it. So I don't want, because it's all like once you delete it will be easy for you and you can avoid bill and all. It's almost done. So this is what the deletion, and thank you so much for connecting with